I think I know a few of you. How many were here last year? If you were here last year, yes. I think there's this fair lady who was here last year. She's at the back. Yes, you were here last year. Okay, great. So most of you, is this your first time at the Ghana Garden and Flower Fair? It's your first time. Awesome. So these are students from the University of Ghana, School of Botany. Let me see, you give me a wave. Awesome. And then School of Agriculture. Okay, nice. And then the Yearly Fellows, Cohort 4, UNFPA. Awesome, awesome, awesome. Give yourselves a round of applause. It's exciting to see students because we've all been students before. And so I think, we are still students anyway because education doesn't stop. And I'm really excited every time I'm engaging students. My name is Etonam, and I'll be your host for this very short period. I can assure you it'll be an exciting time. Today is day 3 of the Ghana Garden and Flower Fair. How many know which year we are marking? You had to look around. Hey, we are marking how many years? So 10 years of promoting our flora and fauna. And this whole conversation is for you and I to take agriculture a bit more serious. I know I did science in secondary school, and then when we see the agric students, we laugh at them because we know they are going to hold what? Cutlasses and hoes, and we keep teasing them. But agriculture is actually the backbone of every economy. I mean, can you live a week without eating? You cannot, unless you're fasting and you want to be like Jesus. But what's important is that we take agriculture serious. We take our flora and fauna serious. What's important is that we do not joke with what we are supposed to be doing as students. Imagine if all of us had backyard gardens. I'm growing tomatoes, someone is growing peppers, another person is growing. We'll not be complaining about the increasing prices of food on the market. And all this will affect the value of our Ghana city. Because we'll get to a point, we'll all be exporting. And there won't be pressure on the city. Do you understand me? Imagine all of us are growing flowers. We started this on Wednesday, and we're discussing about why it's important for all of us to take agriculture serious. Imagine that all the flowers people buy every weekend to bury their loved ones are actually grown in Ghana here and not the imported ones. Do you know what the impact will be? So this whole conversation is to ensure that we are all on the same page. We are all taking agriculture very seriously. Because if you look at the aim of this conference is to promote a wealthier, a greener, a healthier, and a more beautiful Ghana. Would you want to say it with me? A greener, a wealthier, a healthier, and a more beautiful Ghana. Clap for yourselves. So today is day 3, and today is Green to Riches Conference. And the conference is one of the major activities of the Ghana Garden and Flower Show. And you know this is by the Strategic Communications Africa, right? You know, right? Okay. So do you want to give them a round of applause? They've done amazing. It's been 10 years of promoting this, and it's not easy. I mean, you know, when you're young and they're asking, oh, your boyfriend will ask me to flowers, man, flowers, but if we all know how important it is for us to breathe in fresh air, you understand that flowers so the baby. Do you understand me? All right. So the goal of this conference we are about to have this evening is to encourage Ghanaians, especially you, the youth, to take actions that bring positive changes to your livelihood, the environment, and the society, leading to a greener, cleaner, healthier, wealthier, and a more beautiful Ghana. I'd like to say thank you to the Ghana Enterprise Agency for its support and contribution to the conference. Do we have the reps here? Give me a wave. Okay. Ghana Enterprise Agency, do you have any rep here? We don't. Okay, I'm sure they'll join us. Thank you so much. We appreciate you. We also want to say thank you to all our sponsors who have partnered us for the Ghana Garden and Flower Show: Stanbic Bank, Gold Key Properties, Republic Bank, Akai House Clinic, EcoBank, Interplus, Polytank, Vivo Energy, Zoom Lion, Awake Purified Water, G&J Technical Services, and Aya Tickets. Also want to say thank you to our partners, Ghana Police Service, Accra Metropolitan Assembly, Ladadeko Topon Municipal Assembly, Ayawaso East Municipal Assembly, Ayawaso West Municipal Assembly, and the Ghana Enterprise Agency. Also thank you to our official partners, Livestar TV. Also thank you to our media sponsors, Asasi Radio, Graphic Communication, Ghana Web TV, Multimedia Group, Sunny FM, Kantanka TV, Ghana News Agency, The Finder, The Herald, Adum TV, Business and Financial Times, The Insight Aviation Ghana, Business 24, Daily Guide Network, and Ghanaian Times. So this afternoon or this evening, we will be having a panel because we are going to be discussing what we have themed Growth Unleashed. Do you know what our theme for this year is? The 10th edition. Okay, so we have reps from Ghana Enterprise Agency, a wave. Thank you so much for supporting the Ghana Garden and Flower Fair. Do you know what our theme for this year is? The 10th edition. Say again. Growth and say it with vim and munim. Munim say correct. Correct. It's what? Awesome, awesome. So Growth Unleashed, innovations in agriculture for maximum youth participation. And I'm about to introduce our panel because I want them to join me here on stage because we are discussing the topic and we want them to be part. Today we are discussing how can we grow the agriculture, floriculture, and horticulture industry through innovations. How can we encourage more youth participation in Ghana? We are seeking these answers from our panelists and their valuable contributions. So joining me for the panel discussion are 5 individuals in the agriculture, floriculture, horticulture industry. There are various significant roles, and I'm about to introduce them. Help me welcome 2 young entrepreneurs in the agriculture sector. Mr. Maxwell Deladem Kojo Honu. He is CEO of Ebapreneur Solutions and winner of the 2021 Israeli Green Innovation Challenge. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. And those of you who don't know about the Israeli Green Innovation Challenge, clap for him. All right, so those of you who do not know about the Israeli Green Innovation Challenge, it will be on Sunday. Now, this competition looks at young men and women, the youth who are into projects that are eco-friendly, that are saving the environment. And he was the winner last year, and he was taken to Jerusalem. He met Jesus Christ. Okay, so he was in Jerusalem last year, and he will share his experience with us. So this is to encourage all of you so that you come up with ideas that will be supported by the Israeli embassy. All right, we also have here Miss Emmy Beth Quatson. She's CEO of Kawa Mocha Coffee, a leading Ghanaian coffee brand. And she was recently featured in a book I love so much on her inspiring journey as an entrepreneur in Ghana. And this book is written by Madame Esther Koba. I'm sure you already know her. I'll be introducing her shortly. But let's welcome Miss Emmy Beth Quatson, who is joining us. Great to see you again. We also have here with us representatives of organizations who are focused on providing solutions, services, and skills to help in the advancement of agriculture, horticulture, and floriculture. Please help me welcome Mr. Yao Njanab. Yes, he's here. He's the Agribusiness Relationships Manager for Stanbic Bank Ghana. Let's welcome him, official partners of the Ghana Garden and Flower Fair. Thank you so much. We also have been joined by Joseph Ofosubuatin, his partner, Access to Finance at MasterCard Foundation. Let's welcome him with a round of applause. Also, he will be joining us via Zoom, so we are hoping he joins us just when we are about to go live. Mr. Jan van de Berg is a senior expert in floriculture and horticulture from POM, Netherlands, and he will be joining us via Zoom. So thank you lady and gentlemen, for joining us this afternoon. I hope if I get a seat so that it will be easier for me. Oh, you want me to stand here? I was hoping.
Dear friends,
So I'll be joined by Mrs. Sharon Enim, who is the Marketing Communications Manager for Strategic Communications Africa, and will be asking the questions on your behalf. Please give us a round of applause.
Myself walking to the moon. Pull up the single turn up. Pull up the single turn up. Pull up the single turn up.
Okay, so I'd like to start with Dela De Maxwell. He won the Israeli Green Innovations competition last year. Want you to walk us through the journey. I mean, it's been a year. You were in Jerusalem. What has the experience been?
Thank you very much. So I just want to make a little correction. I'm not a CEO yet. My enterprise hasn't reached that level. I'm just a founder. And yes, thank you so much. First of all, I'd like to say a big thank you to the Israeli Embassy in Ghana and Stratcom Africa for the good work they are doing, because without the platform, I wouldn't have won the competition in the first place. It's been a beautiful journey. It's been a journey not devoid of challenges, especially as a young startup in Ghana. Um, so my journey to winning the Israeli Innovation competition started. I think I was in Tongo. So one of the things I do is I work as trainings associate for Global Platform Ghana. It's a training hub for Action Aid. So we were doing women's training on climate action and how they can infuse green ideas into their businesses. And, and so I received a link from a friend to submit my entry. And then I was like, not too good. So I actually submitted my entry, but apparently it didn't, go through. So I received a call from my friend who asked me to submit to ask if I had received an email from Stratcom Africa, and I was like, no. And then he was like, I should put in the application again. So I did it. Long story short, within the space of like 30 minutes, I received a call from one Mr. Richard, and he was like, your solution is crazy. It's massive. I would like you to walk me through it. Then I told him about how it started off as coming up with an idea of reducing the post-harvest losses that Ghana records, especially in the field of cassava farming. and then how much we lose, the amount of money we lose each year to post-harvest losses, and not having to look for a lot of capital before I was going to be able to start a solution. So the solution is basically helping farmers to reduce post-harvest losses by fabricating solar dryers. And these solar dryers add value to the cassava, and the waste that is generated from the cassava gets turned into fuel briquette. Now, it will be interesting for us to know that about 60% of Ghana's urban population, which is mainly constituted by Kumasi and Accra, still heavily depends on charcoal to cook. And 10% of the total population in Ghana still, less than 10% of the total population in Ghana uses LPG and gas because it's expensive. Now, Ghana has one of the highest records of deforestation, not only in Africa, but in the world. Now, we are in an era where we are like, we want to not go beyond 1.5 degrees. So in my little space as a young person, what could I do? And I've always been an advocate of do what you can do in your little corner and not wait for money or wait for resources to be able to do something. So that is how it all started, the idea of EBApreneur Solutions. So EBA, which is EBA, stands for Ecosystem-Based Adaptation. And then, so that's the name, EBApreneur Solutions. That's how it was founded. And that's the dream behind EBApreneur Solutions, helping farmers reduce post-harvest losses and turning the waste that is generated from the cassava, coupled with other waste like wood sawdust, coconut, and shells, and then other things, to be able to at least make an input into the solution space. Thank you.
So we go to Amy Beth. Amy Beth, please share your story with us. What has been your journey? And as a young female entrepreneur.
Thank you very much, Sharon. Such a pleasure to be here and to sit before you, especially young people. I don't feel like a lot of people tell me I'm young, but I don't feel like I'm very young. So when I'm amongst the real youth, I'm excited because you have so much ahead of you. The future is so bright, and there's so much that you can accomplish. It's one of the reasons why I'm always privileged to sit on a panel and share my own experiences and share my journey in the hope that you can also be inspired to be your best self. So my name is Amy Beth Kwanson, as I've been introduced. I run a coffee company called Kawamoka Coffee Company Limited. We process coffee. How many of you know that Ghana has coffee? Do you know that Ghana has coffee? You do? Hey, you guys are smart. How come you know? Well, a lot of people don't know that Ghana has coffee because we have cocoa, and everybody knows that Ghana has cocoa. So what my company is doing is sourcing coffee from the Volta region. Specifically, we get it from a community known as Leklebi in the Volta region, Afajato South, so very close to Afajato. I've seen some of you nodding. Are you from the Volta? Or you've been there? Okay, fantastic. So that's where we get our coffee from. And then we, through a chain of events, we bring that coffee to our roastery. The roastery is where we process the coffee by roasting. So the coffee you drink is roasted. That's how you get it looking brown, and then it becomes the drink that we all know as coffee. Most of you know the 3-in-1, right? So this is a little different. It's what we call natural coffee because it has to be filtered. It doesn't dissolve. It's very healthy, rich in antioxidants. And my business is really introducing that healthy product to Ghanaians and really the world as an alternative for all the sugar, we take. If you want energy, you don't necessarily need to have sugar or, some of the other alternatives. You can have coffee, which is a healthy alternative to that. So in a nutshell, that's my business. I am in this business because I'm very passionate about Ghana and what Ghana has to offer to the world. I think back in the day, it was very cool to, wear imported stuff and, speak big English. But now we're in a period where there's a lot of pride to be Ghanaian. We're making a lot of Ghanaian things, Ghanaian fabrics, Ghanaian shoes, Ghanaian coffee. There's more of what do we have here that we can turn into treasure. So I think that's really my passion, and that's really why I'm involved in Kaomoka, because to find a product that a lot of people don't even know comes from Ghana, add value, create jobs, you know, give a packaged product that nobody has seen prior and said, oh, okay, we can do this in Ghana. For me, that's the pride in it. And even taking it a step further, we also infuse local flavors. So prekese, dawa, ginger, moringa, we infuse it in our coffee. And you can also have that. Because the point is that you should be proud of where you come from, and you should look at what you have in your own country and then escalate that to the world. Kaomoka is also very passionate about greening our business. So you'll find that very soon we'll probably be the first Ghanaian coffee company to produce our coffee completely green, either through solar and through also reducing our carbon emissions. So that's a big thing for us. We also turn our waste into treasure, because coffee is really good as a skincare product. It's good for cellulite reduction. It's great because of the antioxidants into your skin. So we've changed our waste into a skincare product, where we have a detox scrub, we have whipped body butter infused with coffee, we have coconut oil infused with coffee, we have a cappuccino soap. So that's our little contribution. And we're also looking to turn, I don't know if you know this, but coffee can be used for charcoal. Did you know that? So at least there's one thing that you don't know, because you knew everything else. So you can turn the coffee waste product into charcoal. It's very good for plants. So if you drink your coffee, the grounds that are left from your coffee, you put it on your plant. It's a natural fertilizer. You water it, it helps it grow. So there are a lot of things that can be created from coffee, and you can basically use every part of the plant. So that's our little contribution to the environment. Next month, we are planting almost 10,000 coffee trees as part of our project in the Volta region. So we're also encouraging reforestation, including some trees, some oak trees in there as well. So that's really Kaomoka in a nutshell. And I'm sure as we go along, I will tell a bit more about my story on starting with very little, how to grow, how to make sure that you are selling and getting money from customers as a way of growing. So very nice to be here, and thank you.
I'm glad Amy Beth mentioned, starting with nothing. And I'm coming to you, Mr. Njonab. Do you have financial products for startups? Because I'm sure Maxwell will share in that and say that starting from nowhere and people not believing in your dream is difficult to support. So do you have like financial products for startups?
Okay, thank you. Basically, as a bank, as Stanbic Bank, what we do, just like any other bank, is financial intermediation. That is the core function of our business. So basically what we do is actually to take from those who have to put in a very literal form and give to those who don't have and they need money. Now for startups, of course we do. What we normally do is that, so for example, as young graduates coming out of school, or you are in school, but you have a very brilliant business idea that you want the world to know. You want to transform it into a business. The whole starting point is, of course, you have the idea in your mind. You need to conceptualize it. That is, you have to put it on paper. What you have as business is just in your head. Now, as financial partners, what we want to see is how do you make that idea visible to all of us, or for all of us to see, to make financial sense. As a young person into business, if you're able to put your business or your idea in that form, okay, on paper, it makes us able to assess it, okay, and put financial relevance to that idea. Okay, so it can be a startup, but as long as you can put it, okay, in a form that will appreciate what you want the world to know about your idea, we should be able to finance you. And of course, all the big businesses that you see globally, they all started as startups. Okay, so without, adequate financial support, banking support, they wouldn't have come this far. So what I'm trying to say is that yes, as a startup, as long as you're able to package your idea in a form that is, that can be sold, for stakeholders to actually appreciate and add value to it. We as a financial partner, we are ready to, come in and support you. Thank you.
Right, so Sharon, I'm sure there'll be a follow-up on, there are concerns that sometimes the financial institutions want to see how fluid your idea is, so that if I'm investing in it, what do I stand to gain? So for instance, they'll give you in 5 years, what are we getting from this business? I'm sure we'll get to that, so that maybe if I have to put together a plan that will be detailed enough, then we do that.
Yes, thank you very much, Yao. So we'll go to Joseph. He's with MasterCard Foundation, and with MasterCard Foundation, they have a focus in agriculture. And they have so many programs and so many events that they have put in place, especially for the youth in agriculture. So we'd like Joseph to tell us some of the opportunities that are in agriculture and the value chain, and what MasterCard Foundation has in place for the youth.
Thank you very much. I'm glad to be on this platform to hear from entrepreneurs and also hear from the banks. So the MasterCard Foundation has events or programs focusing on youth. So it's not some on youth, it's purely on youth. Our target is to reach so many youth, especially in Ghana. We are looking at 3 million youth getting work opportunities from agriculture. I thought that was a point to give us. Yeah, so if you look at the agricultural system in Ghana, it's really organized around 3 main areas. And I'm sure the ARC students know better than I do here. There's the crop sector, there's the livestock, and then cocoa stands alone. So under the crops, you have so many commodities there. You could have the cereals and legumes. You could have also the cereals and legumes. You could have also roots and tubers, all in that area. Then you also have the tree crops as well. Then you go to the livestock. You have poultry. You have aquaculture. You have ruminants. Then cocoa. We all know cocoa. So the opportunities are vast. If you pick any of these subsectors, right, and you drill down into it, you're able to look at the entire value chain. So Amy spoke about sourcing coffee. That means she's not into production. She's now looking at planting trees. So you see there's a production bit where people are so, involved in that aspect. And I think that's what created the perception that agriculture is, a very mundane, hard, job. Really it is, but there's so much technology, being infused in the entire space. So if you pick, say, maize, right? There's a production. So there are people who are experts at, preparing the land. There could be opportunities there for you. Then you go into the real production. There's input supplies. There's, so you have the input guys in there. You have those who are with the pesticides and all that playing a role in there. Then you move from actual production into post-harvest, right? There's post-harvest management. He's talking about post-harvest technology in there. So you could put in some technology to manage post-harvest. Then you go into the other streams that has to do with the processing. That's where Amy plays a very key role, processing the actual output into something else that gives you more value and more resources. So you can see that there's, when you pick each and every value chain, there's so many opportunities in there. So it really depends on what you really want to do. And that's what MasterCard Foundation is really excited about, and opening up for young people to be able to see the opportunities within the sector.
Thank you very much. We were expecting a senior expert from PUM. PUM is a partner of the Ghana Garden and Flower Movement, and the partnership we have with them is for capacity building, knowledge transfer, and skills transfer. Unfortunately, we were expecting him to join us live, but he couldn't join. But we have a video from Chris, and we would like to play this video, and he's talking about floriculture and horticulture.
Dear friends, unfortunately I cannot be with you this time. I will explain later why. But first of all, congratulations with the 10th anniversary of your flower show. I think this is really unique because there's a lot of flower shows in Africa, but most of them are, let's say, for professionals, flower growers, breeders. But a flower show to make public aware of how beautiful flowers are, I think that's unique, and I think you're the only one in Africa doing this in such a great manner. So congratulations for that. As I said, unfortunately I cannot be with you the moment you are now listening to this message. I will be in Colombia, and that has a reason. I'm going to explain you because it's connected with the message that I have for you. I am a co-director of a big chrysanthemum farm. We produce on 14 hectares chrysanthemum in the Netherlands. And as you probably know, energy prices in Europe have increased dramatically. And that has to do, of course, with the war in Ukraine, but not only that. Anyway, prices of energy, gas, natural gas in particular, have increased tremendously. And I think it will, at some point, they will come down again, it will stabilize, but never, ever, is my prediction, they will go down to a level that European and Dutch flower growers can produce flowers in wintertime, plants in wintertime like they used to do. The world has really changed. We as a chrysanthemum company, on those 14 hectares we produce chrysanthemum for the market in Europe, especially retail. And we simply cannot supply our customers anymore in wintertime because it has become too expensive to produce. So that's why me and my colleague are going to Colombia. We're going to try to find partners who can supply chrysanthemums to us and to our customers in wintertime in a period that we cannot do it anymore. Why Colombia? Well, Colombia is the biggest flower producing country in the world by far. It's not Kenya, not Ethiopia, certainly not the Netherlands. It's Colombia, by far our the biggest, and also with a very wide assortment. So we are going to source production there. Now, this is an example of my own situation, but there's many growers of plants in the Netherlands who have exactly the same problem. I'm going to tell you something very serious. Production of chrysanthemums are going to decrease this coming winter with 35%. But what I've heard is that production of by far out the biggest pot plant produced in the Netherlands, Phalaenopsis, is going down with 50%. Can you imagine? And simply for the reason of too high costs of energy. So my message to you is have a second look of what options could be for you as Ghana. I know in the past my message was especially try to focus on your own market, on your local market in Ghana, try to develop new assortment, well, at least what's new for you, and find your way there, because exporting is not that easy. Well, that remains difficult, but there's many, many more chances from now onwards towards the future. Palms, I just mentioned one example more. Palms, they require a lot of energy to grow here in the Netherlands in greenhouses. In the next year, and for sure after that, it will not be easy, if not impossible, to grow a wide variety of palms. So the chances for you as Ghana are bigger than ever before. So what I'm suggesting to you, get together as growers and get together with PUM and try to have a completely new look of what the options could be, because I'm sure there are, but it requires work together, you as growers in Ghana, because you have to produce large scale. Otherwise you cannot export, then exporting is way too expensive. And try to match with partners in Europe who are interested in your product. Like we are now going to source chrysanthemum flowers, me and my colleague, at this very moment, sourcing chrysanthemum flowers in Colombia. I think the Dutch flower growers and wholesalers, they could source in Ghana, but it requires cooperation and a complete new look at what the market will require in the next couple of years. Well, this is my message to you. I and my other colleagues from PUM would be more than willing to help you there, and let's see then what the future brings. I wish you a very nice day, and I'm sure it will be very inspiring, and I hope to see all of you soon again. All the best. Bye bye.
Thank you very much. Another round of applause. So, Maxwell, just to come to you, I know that you have been out there sourcing for funding. Would you want to share your experience with us as a young business?
Most definitely. But I think I'm in the midst of people who can make that happen now, so it's exciting times ahead. It's always exciting as a young person with an idea that everyone says, "Oh, this is amazing. This is," but when it gets to the point where you need the most important, element to move it further, like everybody's like, we don't have the funding from private institutions to government institutions. But I mean, it has always been about finding passion in what you do. Because for me, I didn't study agriculture. I'm a computer scientist by degree. So, and a lot of us here know how much money you can make if you apply that road. I mean IT. And I was going to focus on database engineering as an Oracle. So I could have, taken that path and so but I felt like, I mean, life is not always about how much money you're going to be able to make after school, but it was also about after you die and go, what are the things that people can look at and say, oh, this guy was able to come up with this idea, he was able to come up. So that has always been my motivation. Now, coming to funding, so when I won the competition, and then I knew I was going to go to Israel. I mean, it was exciting. But at the back of my mind, I was expecting some, money. But I mean, that notwithstanding, the exposure I got in Israel is crazy. I mean, I had an earlier conversation with you where I was telling you about you'd find spaces on the streets of Tel Aviv where they have their traffic lights, and um, Israel is the number one leading country when it comes to irrigation systems. Netafim, if anybody knows that company, they are the number one leading company when it comes to irrigation. And it's interesting to know that Israel doesn't have water in abundance. Their land is not as fertile as Ghana. And to think of how they are able to do the things they do, and then you look at Ghana, we have access to water, like it's
What's our
like
excuse?
and we say that Israel is the land of milk and honey, and they tell you no, it's not the land of milk and honey, because Ghana is way fertile than Israel, and we have access to water than Israel. Like, we have water everywhere. You pass here, Odona, you pass here, like, but we don't use it. But now, I got to Israel and spoke to a couple of companies about having better materials for my solar dryer. And I realized that it was no joke, and some of them were not going to be ready to deal with very small quantities. So they would want to deal with like a 40 feet container. And I mean, where am I going to carry the money from? But the exposure I got from that pushed me to be able to hold other meetings with other development corporations. So I had a meeting with a couple of development corporations from Germany, and they wanted to see how we could partner. It was a good 5 months, a 5 days meeting. But I mean, sometimes they will say it's a stubborn character to have. But as a young entrepreneur in Africa, one of the things you must be able to do is to be able to protect your idea. You should not be in a place where you are looking at, I have an idea, it's interesting. Once somebody comes on board, I'm ready to sell it off. At the end of the day, it might not achieve what you founded it to achieve. The vision by which you founded it by will be lost. So you must stick to the plan. I mean, of course, if any investor comes on board and wants to partner, they are going to ask, what's in it for me? But you also must be ready to come to a point of, you should meet each other halfway. But if the person coming on board is not ready to meet you halfway, and for them it's all about how much money can I make with your enterprise, then you should ask yourself, do you want to cash out, and then 5 years later, Abapreneur Solutions you'd hear Abapreneur Solutions, and it's totally different from what you actually founded it to be. So you must go through the challenges of having access to funds. You would apply for certain grants, they will give you exciting, they'll say your idea, I mean, I think this is 80% good, and you might get the funding and you are excited. They call you to come for a letter and they'll say, oh, we are sorry to tell you that we don't have the funds immediately. And you get to a point where you feel like you are stuck as a young startup. You feel like you are stuck, and then you sit back and you're like, should I go back to database administration? Should I go back to football administration? Because I have experience of working as a football team manager. So I can go back to do that, or I can focus full-time as a climate change trainer with ActionAid. But I feel like it's not enough to only exist, but you must make a change. You must make, so that is what drives me to, I mean, in the absence of funds, still keep to the vision and keep to the dream that it will work. So, I mean, that's it. Thank you.
So Sharon, these are real life situations, and I'm wondering what Stanbic Bank will say
Exactly.
in terms of years.
I was about to ask, because we all know that the funding is a big challenge when it comes to a lot of startups. And Stanbic is here with us. They actually have a whole agri-business department, which means that it's something they really cherish. And not only do I want y'all to tell us about the services they have, but how can the youth position themselves to get access? Because it's not enough to just have the services, but how do I get, as a young person, as a young startup, what do I need to do to get access to these funding opportunities that you have?
Okay, thank you. So as Stanbic, maybe just to add, we don't just do or give financial support to entrepreneurs. We also have what we call the incubator. So as young business people coming up, we normally have a session for these young guys, either in school or right after school. You have brilliant ideas. We bring all of them together and mentor them, you know, aside the financial aspect. Now to your question, how do you, I mean, what are the products or services that can actually help in supporting your business or your business idea? I mean, just like I started, you know, money, it's actually easy to come by, you know, for your business. It's actually easy. And I want to thank you for programs like this or events like this, because way back when I was in school, I never had the benefits of, I mean, getting access to some of these platforms. You know, I would have known how to package those crazy business ideas that I had. I'm sure by now I wouldn't be working with Stanbic. I would have created my own businesses. But, I mean, to your point, you just need to package your business well, okay, in a form of a business proposal. Because if it is in your head, nobody knows what it is. Put it in a very nice business proposal or business plan form, okay. You have your I mean, you want to do, so for example, you are into coffee, you know, you have your cost and then the revenues that you are going to, I mean, generate at the end of the day. It's in your head, but you need to put it on paper for any financial institution or Stanbic to be able to see that, look, if your business needs maybe 10,000 Ghana cedis to buy or put together ABC. At the end of the day, these are the market opportunities that are available for you. Okay, you are going to make about 15 or 12,000 Ghana cedis at the end of the day. You know, with that way, it's easier for us to assess and want to give you the funding. So whether it is working capital that you need to go and buy or aggregate the cash, of course you don't do primary production. But if you're into production and your business is well, I mean, spelled out, we can actually fund the production leg of your business. You know, if you're into aggregation, you need working capital, we can fund you. We don't just do, I mean, that. We can actually give you, I mean, money to set up your business. I mean, you want to grow. So a point is coming where you need money to put up a whole factory. you know, you may not be able to do that on your own. I mean, as a bank, we are ready to finance that right from scratch to whatever level that you need. You just need to present your business proposal in a way that is, I mean, accessible, you know, to all of us. That will make more business sense to us. Equipment, you know, you want to buy or install ABC, you know, equipment to just beef up your production level or capacity. Okay, you want to buy machinery, you want to buy cars, you know, to transport or distribute your goods and all those things. You can't carry it on your head. Neither can you do it on a motorbike, you know. As a bank, war package business, we're able to support you in all these areas. Even on your employees, you know, package for all of them. Because what we believe in is that it's not just focused on you, the entrepreneur or the business, but if you have a very happy workforce, they will stay committed to your business. That we have facilities or loans or products, you know, that can support the educational needs of your workforce, your staff. I mean, their insurance, funerals, all those kind of products are there, you know. So my point is, package your business in a way that is, you know, makes more financial sense to us. It doesn't matter if it's a startup or it's an existing business. Stanbic would assess it and give it the right support. Thank you.
I'm sure Mastercard Foundation would want to add.
Yes, so I would add to Mr. Janab. The thing is, you see, you need to start small. That is the main thing. You know, we come in and we want to be like that big agribusiness. Learn to start small. Will you invest in a similar business if we're on the other side? Sometimes that's a question you need to ask yourself. And so you need to test the concept, right? And continue with your business proposal. It will go through several iterations. It gets to a point where you can see that this is fit for purpose. And I always, I mean, recommend to you, keep knocking at the doors of funding agencies, okay? Keep knocking at the doors because look, the business of banks, like he said, is to take your deposit and give it out as loans. If it's not so sure of the money coming back, I can tell you 100% he will not give you the money. You get the point? Because he also has to protect the depositors' funds as well. So you need to have that structure clearly written out. And there's so much opportunities for people to help you, right? To help you position that business at a point where it can, you know, compete as a proposal for funding. You see, the way we write, we send CVs across and letters looking for employment. When it comes to our own businesses, we want to receive the funding just at the snap of a finger. No, you need to knock harder. So that you get to a point where many people would have heard you, and one of them will go through for you. And at every point in time, one thing I can say for sure, if you speak to Emmy, if you speak to any other person, you add on something to the idea, and it gets refined. By the time you speak to the 10th person, you would have received your funding.
I want to contribute a bit to the funding. And I'll contribute by giving you a bit of my background. So I started what I call baby Kawamoka when I was in university. I went to Ashesi University. And as you all know, there's a strong emphasis on entrepreneurship. So at the time, we were in Laboni, and there were 3 buildings. Building 1, Building 2, Building 3, that's what we called it. Building 1 and 2 had canteens and cafeterias. Building 3 did not. But for me, Building 3 was the nicest building because it had some grass, there was an abandoned gazebo, you know, by the lecture hall. So every day I would pass through. In my final year, we were doing, we had an entrepreneurship course, and I was thinking of doing my thesis based on that. So I'd pass by this gazebo and I'd say, oh, this is a very lovely space. I can see it being, you know, a meeting point for students, convening over coffee, you know, sandwiches and the like. So what did I do? It was on my heart. So first, I proposed it in the class. I got what they call co-founders. So I got a group of 4 who came together. We refined the business model. So I'm like, oh, this is what I think. Somebody brings an idea. We all put it together. We put some numbers together. And And then I went to the administration and I said to them, there's this beautiful gazebo there. It's abandoned. You're not doing anything with it. There's beautiful grass there. I think I could put it to use. The administration says, okay. I said, oh, but can I have it for free? We support entrepreneurs. Okay, you try. You see? So that's how I started. There was a lecturer in my university who was an architect. So I went to him. I was like, oh, sound form. I don't have money, but you have the skills and you're my lecturer. So please help me, design this building. So he did it. He did it for free. He even brought some of his materials for free. With this group of people, we pretty much had a management team. And that's how I started. I started with relatively nothing. So sometimes, I'm telling you this story because we get fixated over what we don't have and miss out on what we have. Somebody may not give you money, but what would you have used the money for? I might have paid an architect, and they wouldn't have charged me any small money, right? But I got this for free. So that's savings in your pocket. You also give it back later on. You find ways of also showing your appreciation. But at the end of the day, there are resources available. So that's point one. After starting this business, I ran it for 2 years. One year in my final year and 1 year after school. Now, after school, I got employed straight out of Ashesi. Okay, so I did an internship with PricewaterhouseCoopers, and then I was taken immediately. So before I even finished school, even though I was running my coffee shop, I knew I had a job. So it was very exciting. So I started that. I was writing my ACCAs, I was running my cafe, and I was working full-time after school because I believed in my business, right? I'm mentioning that because a lot of people think of entrepreneurship as, if I don't get a job, I'll go and start my business. Mindset. You are creating jobs, okay? So you don't have to think about it as plan B. It could be plan A if you do it right. Okay, Maxwell talked about, oh, you may not have money and you sacrifice. Me, I believe in money. You have to make money because, you have to live. But again, to Joseph's point, we look at those big businesses everywhere. We see a business has raised $1 million. A business has made $700,000. If I gave you $1 million today, what will you use it for? Be honest. You don't even know, right? It's big money. You don't know. So there is a progression. I ran my cafe for a year after school. Ashesi moved to Brekusu, so I couldn't balance everything. I couldn't monitor. I closed it. I worked with PwC for 6 years in Ghana and in Kenya, and the coffee vision was still calling me. Luckily, at that time, I'd saved a little money. I had a bit of experience in accounting and in financing. I'm a chartered accountant. So, I had a bit of background. I then revisited the idea of Kaomoka. I started with research. Hey, we did it in school. School was safe. Can we do it on a bigger level, So did a lot of research, asked a few people, went to find a few places. In fact, I even went to this building. They said 1 square meter was $45 or so. I said, hey, how am I going to find this money? And I, again, looked at partnerships. So there was a co-working space to which they needed an accountant to provide some services, and I needed space. So that's how I started. Again, very minimal. I don't even think it cost me $400. Now, well, the dollar is where it is, so let's use cedis. At the time, it was just about 400 cedis. I got a tire. Those in Agbogboloshe, you find the tires with the, what's it called, with the, where you can cook, what's it called, stovetop, I don't know what it's called, like, yes, the Copot solution, sort of with the gas. I got that. We started making food. We added coffee. Initially, I was just buying coffee from the shelves. And I was like, oh, Ghana has coffee. Why are we buying all these foreign brands from the shelf? And then that was iteration 2. Again, the point is that it's a journey, and you keep refining it. When you're in school, you understand that, oh, after school, I'll do national service. After national service, maybe I'll work a few years. I'll get a promotion. Maybe after I get a promotion, I'll buy a car. But when you start your business, immediately, you want overnight success. It doesn't work that way. Even when you have all the tools and all those people you see raising money and all of that, it's not as simple as what you see on TV. There's a lot of sweat, blood, and tears that happens behind the scenes. There are failures. You go back, you redo it, you find out what works, what doesn't work. I've been at Kaomoka for 7 years, and I can tell you that we are still refining our business model. We started with our cafes, as I mentioned, and then we realized that there was a huge opportunity with manufacturing. And I'll tell you a story of my beginnings as well. When we started, I'd worked in Kenya for a while, so I had people who understood immediately the business model and what I wanted to do because it had been done there. So I said, oh, okay, I'm starting. I valued my business at $100,000. I said, oh, if you each bring $20,000, you get 20%, 20%, let's start. Luckily for me, that didn't work out. In all the discussions and all of that, as you'll find with funding, a lot of it doesn't work out. You knock on 100 doors, maybe one will open for you. So that didn't work out. And I can tell you today that if I'd taken that money at that time for 20% of my business, meaning I would have given away 40%, I would be in a completely different situation, to the point about even being able to change the business model, being able to think about the impacts that you want to make. One of the things we do is being intentional about including women in our value chain. So imagine if we'd been funded. Sometimes you don't control all of those circumstances. So you have to grow it. You have to put in the work. And as you evolve, you'll be able to package it like he said. You would have shown proof of concepts. You would have seen, they will see that they know what you're about. What are the things that they look for? They look for their team. They look for your financials. They look for your business model, operations. Do you have all of that? Governance. Do you have a board? How are you making decisions? Do you just wake up in the morning, you have an idea? And entrepreneurs, every day we have new idea. I like, We've seen circumstances where people are, 4 or 5 businesses, one business is taking money from here, and all of that. So how focused are you as an entrepreneur? So think about it. Understand that it's a journey. You have to do the work, and there'll be iterations. In terms of accessing funding, like I said, it's a great time to be a Ghanaian. And for the women here, it's a fantastic time to be a woman. It's very good. You heard Masaka, you heard Joseph, he was telling about, 70% for women? Even now, the men are even disenfranchised. Am I lying? They say we are here too, right? But it's a good time to be a woman. It's a good time to be a woman in business. When I started with the Tonielu Melu Foundation. So they supported with $5,000. So that's what I used for my initial funding. And after the initial stuff, when I started selling and all of that, I used that for my first expansion. Since then, we've got quite a number of funds in relation to equipment, capacity building, across board. And you can see where the money is going. We have a roastery in Adenta. You'll see the progression. It's now, a bigger facility. We have a roaster. We have a grinder. We employ more people. So you can see where the money is going. I know for a fact that some of the people in my cohorts for Tonielu Melu, when they got the $5,000, they disappeared. You see? So now you're coming to our funders, and then you're asking them, oh, trust me, believe in me. What's your track record? Who will vouch for you? What collateral do you have? So when you understand the back end as well of the decision making, you can package it better. And don't always think, oh, I need more money. What can you do with the little that you have? How far can you go? How far can you push this? How can you get other people to buy into your journey so that you can keep going? Because the worst thing is to sell off your company either in debt or in equity, and not be able to pay it back. Can you imagine those people who've raised $700,000 and $1 million and all that? Do you think they are sleeping? Are they sleeping? Even, I don't know if any of you have borrowed Momo. When they borrow and they say, oh, don't send to my number. Don't send to this number. That's 100 CDs, right? So how much more $1 million? Okay, so pace yourself. Don't dig yourself into an early grave because you're in a hurry. Okay? And the funding will come. You'll learn to speak to more funders. You'll understand their language. You'll know what to put in there to get them to buy into your company. And always keep your vision in mind, your end result. What's your innovation? What impact do you want to make? And how do you take it to the next level? and the money will come. The money will come. So stay focused.
I would like to just add something because she's touched on a lot of things that I mean. So my own story is more of having a group of young people who are passionate about the idea or the innovation. And she mentioned something that's very important. Like most of the times when you have something doing that gives you a regular income, it makes it easy for you to be able to understand that, okay, if it's sneakers that I sell, at the end of the day, I'm making money from that. And it's my personal money. I can decide that, okay, out of the 50% I'm going to make from that business, I'm going to push it into my startup. So at the end of the day, you're not going to wait for, you know, A to come and give you money to start. I didn't start with no money. And if I mention some of the things I've been able to achieve, it will blow your mind. With manual production, my team and I have been able to produce about 1 ton of briquettes. 1 ton of briquette, and this has not been sold. We just gave it out to people to use, to be able to give us feedback. Because if we are to be honest, if I ask us here what briquettes are, some of us don't know what briquettes are. True or false? How many of us know what briquettes are? Maybe you've not even heard it before. So the whole idea was, and we've done a lot of data collection because this is what is missing in. If you go online to look for data on, let's say, agricultural farmers in Ghana, it's so difficult. You would dig. You will not find anything to be able to, come. So what we have done, or what my team and I have done in the past, is to consciously develop our own data. So we've worked with farmers in Apeguso, and we've been able to build solar dryers. We've built a solar dryer that has a capacity of drying 250 kilograms of cassava within 6 hours. So, and traditionally, you and I know that it will take about 8 days. And by the time the cassava is dried, it's brown, it's dusty, it's dirty, it's unhealthy. But we say, oh, the browner, the nicer. If Ghana kokunte is not brown, it's not kokunte. So, and one of the demonstrations there's a community in Birim South municipality, Achemodan. It's called Aquatic Room. So we wanted to demonstrate the power of the innovation, because most of the times, if you take an innovation to people in the community, you think that, oh, these people, they should just accept it. So we built the skeleton of the solar dryer here. We set it up and were able to see, okay, this is how it's going to be. It was a 10 by 7 feet solar dryer. We transported it to the community, and then we got there like 6 a.m. Immediately we took our clothes off. We started, putting it together. By 3 p.m., we had put it all together. And then we asked them to go to their farms to bring cassava. So the next morning, because the sun was winding down, we wanted them to have a feel of how the cassava. And immediately you mentioned solar dryer. People think so much of a huge technology. But the most important element in the technology is the sun. And then the material that traps it. That's it. So we put the cassava the next day in the solar dryer. And then by 4 p.m., the cassava was completely dry. And Ghana Standards Authority has a minimum moisture level for which you can sow cassava starch. And that's like 10%. Because at 10%, it will not go bad. You can store it for like 6 months, 10 months. And this was particularly interesting when I went to Israel. There's a company in Israel that's focused on post-harvest management. They are able to elongate the life of avocado for 9 months after you have harvested it from the farm. But you and I know that Ghana here, you say, oh, pear, 1 CD, 2 CD. After 2-3 weeks, pear is off the market, and you go, some small pear, they'll tell you it's 5 CDs. And you say, hey. So I feel like there's not a deliberate attempt by us as young people, Ghana. It's telling us that